Good night, everyone. My name is Vivian.
Hi. Hi, Vivi.
Hi. Good night. Archbishop Idika Mary has asked me to host tonight's discussion. We will be continuing from where we left off last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, we talked about the question was, should you get married when you are young, between the ages of 18 and 24, or much older? We have dealt with the 18 to 24, but tonight we're going to be dealing from 25 and up. I want to, before I go into this discussion, I want to welcome all of you, and I want to say thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure interacting with you and hearing your views on the different topics that we have been talking about. I'm sure that when it gets aired, that lots of people are going to be helped, because a lot of the testimonies that were given, a lot of things that were said were indeed personal, to each individual. It also stirred up some emotion, about things that might have happened in the past. And I believe that these sessions come that we might be healed and we might be made whole and lead good lives. All is not lost.
Amen.
Before I continue, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel. I want you to like and to share. I want you to hit the notification bell so that when new videos come out, you will be one of the first to receive the videos, so that you would, enjoy and also take action from what you hear, because I believe that people, their problems are going to be solved because of what we discuss here. If you don't know what to do when you're going through a crisis, then that's a problem. But we are here for you. If the content helps you or you need further help, I also invite you to call us. We're here for you. Archbishop Secretary is Victoria. You can reach her at 316-308-5645. And last but not least, I want to remind you, if you have not yet sent in your tithes and offerings to the idika imeri mission and idika imeri, I'm going to invite you to do so. And you can send your tithes and offerings to P.O. Box 2491, Wichita, Kansas 67201. We'd be happy to hear from you. It keeps us on the air, keeps us relevant, keeps people, problems to be solved through this program. Tonight, the questions that we have had from last Wednesday to now came out of Genesis chapter 21, from 8 to 21, where it talked about Hagar and Sarah, that saga. So tonight we're going to be dealing with marriage again. But to recap, for those who weren't here or for those who are new on the line, we talked about you need to be stable, in love of yourself, and you need to take responsibility. We also dealt with mental stability, emotional stability, and trauma, unhappiness, having no peace, things of that nature. And we also even talked about the pain of rejection and neglect and abandonment. Now, we talked about the positives and negatives of being married at 18 to 24. My question tonight is, what are some of the advantages of marrying after 25? Let's talk about that. Are they?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I don't think we talked about advantages of early marriages. We talked about just the
No, all I'm
negative.
saying is now, since we
Okay.
already saw the negatives and the positives of marrying at 18 to 24, any advantages now to marrying much older than that? Do you understand the question?
One of the things that was said was the fact that a person is not mature, that it takes about that long to start into real maturity to be able to make decisions properly because the brain isn't developed.
You want to talk a little more about that? Explain that a little further for those who might not quite understand what you're saying. Could you elaborate on that a little for me?
Our bodies are in a developing process from the time that we're born. But I think that the hormones kick in before the brain is fully developed. And it has been proven, as it was mentioned, I think you were doing the talking, that the brain doesn't fully develop until about 25 or older. And we make more mature decisions and can put things together. Is that more helpful?
Yes. Samantha, could you elaborate on that a little more? About mature versus immaturity in marriage?
You mean in relation to the brain and becoming an adult?
Yes. And making decisions, and not only decisions but informed decisions. That means that you don't just jump into stuff. Like out of high school straight into marriage. Things of that nature.
Yes, because by the time you're done with high school, 17, 18, you're still trying to find yourself. Even by the time you get to the age of 24, you don't know who you are. I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we can agree with that. And because your brain is still forming, there's still changes going on physiological in your body in relation to your brain. It is not a wise time to be thinking about making decisions that will affect you for the rest of your life, and that will affect those who are in your circle, your small circle, whether it's that husband, that wife, children who will come, etc. And seems for me, it is the ideal time to discover yourself between 18 and 24. And research has even shown recently that the brain can even take as much as up to age 28 before it becomes fully formed and gives you that ID card that says you're an adult. So between 18 and 24, it is not a good time to be making solid decisions about life or about things that concern you personally in your personal life that will have effects on the future, on your future, and the future of those who are around you. And more so, apart from discovering yourself, according to what Bishop said, I think I need to add that that's when your eye gaze is roving, because you're learning, you're discovering, you're not sure what you want. You may want this thing for that time, but then a couple months later, a year later, your mind has changed, your emotions have changed towards that thing because your focus is different. Your brain is still trying to help you figure out who you are, who you're becoming, so it is not the right time to be making serious decisions, especially one concerning marriage and kids.
I agree. Anyone else? You don't have anything on that?
I was also thinking that there is not a foundation at that age, between 18 and 24 even, and you're just beginning a foundation as far as finances, career, what you want to do in a career. Can you be independent on your own?
True.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Vicky, you were going to say something?
Oh, yeah. I think when you're older, what were we talking about? Marriage after how old? 20?
25 and up.
Yeah, I think you've made enough mistakes and also been around different types of people by the time of 25. So if you want to get married at that age, you're more prepared on what you want and what you don't want, and more experienced in life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you really can't be peer pressured anymore. Sometimes when you're under that age, you kind of like whatever's cool at the moment and thinking you like that for a little while. And then so I think I think it's better to get married after that, so that you have a successful marriage and you don't end up getting divorced and going through all kinds of problems for no reason. You're going to be together for the rest of your life anyway, so why not just wait, and watch each other?
Yeah. So my next question then is everyone 25 and above matured?
I don't think so.
Oh. No.
And can take on responsibility of marriage?
Well,
yeah,
I think I don't know, but I think even with the brain being formed by the age of 25 or 28 now, that they're saying it can go as far as 28 for certain individuals, that it still doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready for marriage. There is something called the roaring 20s, and many people will tell you about all the mistakes that they made in their 20s. So even if the brain is fully formed by age 25 or 28, it may not necessarily mean that post 25 or post 28, meaning after 25 or 28, that you're ready. And then we have to always think of the fact that when you look at individuals, the male, the female, the woman, the man, individually, you are coming into a relationship with somebody else with your unique self. By the time you meet this person and you're thinking about marriage, are you really ready? Do you know what you're getting into? So even if your brain is fully formed, what preparation can we make? Or what preparation can I make to reach that point of knowing that this is something that I can get into and that it can be successful? So how do I get prepared? Who is preparing me? How do I perceive that preparation? How long does that preparation process take? So even if I think I'm an adult by 25 or 28, there's still a lot of groundwork or foundation work that needs to be done. And that shouldn't be taken as an indictment on my character, meaning that I'm such a bad person or I'm so deficient that I need to be prepared. It's just the reality of what it is, that if you want this thing to work, there's a certain amount of preparation that you must go through, even if you have a fully formed brain at 25 or by 28.
Because I would dare say that even at 25, some women don't even know how to cook.
Yes.
They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to wash. Yeah. But who's responsible for teaching the women and the young women and women in general and men? Whose responsibility is it?
That's the loaded question we've been trying to figure out.
Because you mentioned it. You don't think that the mothers should be able to sit their daughters down when they begin to reach a certain age, say like when they hit 18 or 17, and begin to, you might not tell them everything, but begin to say certain things to them.
Yes, little things that you drop into them. Yes, yes.
Yes, I mean, until they're ready for the hard stuff. But at least you leave the door open that they can come and ask questions. So you're beginning to train their minds, what to look for, how to behave, and things of that nature. And I think that the men should be the fathers. The real fathers should be able to do it to the boys.
Yes.
So that they would, and also model it. Because you can't just say, oh, you do this and you do that and you open doors and you do different things, but yet they don't see you doing it. So they don't think it's of any value. You know what I'm saying?
Because we discussed that in Wednesday. Yes. Yeah.
Right, and they don't want to be seen as, hey, they're slaves or whatever, but it's just a part of marriage. It's just a part of, the process. Fathers teach girls how men should treat them by the way they treat their wives in front of the children. So if your daughter sees your father doing things that are bad to your mom, that's going to become their norm. Because that's all they know and that's all they see. And vice versa. If the women treat the men a certain way, that's why women do the same as they come up, because it's what they see as the norm. And they don't have, other role models to look at. Because Hollywood is a farce. That's just for entertainment. But when it comes down to the real thing now, we don't know how to behave because we're not taught, we're not trained. So the same problems you find in 18 to 24 with those who might be matured, but they're still not developed, mentally to handle these kind of situations. And I think that they should hold off until they're ready.
Yes.
Because the little counseling they get at the church doesn't say much. Doesn't go into detail. So they're going, without too much education, and they foul up, they mess up, and sometimes they can't even look back and ask mom, but, a couple questions, because, especially in the Caribbean, there are certain things that are taboo that you don't discuss.
You know children, what I'm saying?
Yeah. Certain things you don't tell them. Because for whatever reason. So that puts them at a disadvantage going in the first place.
Yes.
Sorry, Annie, you were saying something.
For me, I ask myself, how do you know if a person is an adult or not? And this is what I tell myself, that it is the responsibility they are willing to take. And if they have problem solving, because practically going into marriage is like you mentioned the other time, it's like ready to fight. They have the ability to solve problems. How do they go about handling the issues of life? Are they stable? Are they stable in their decision making? Are they stable in their finances? Are they stable in the things they do? Because for me, if the people are even young, I think the age bracket, yes, that is what science is, and we see some of these things. But then, if the people or the two people who are going to this thing called marriage, if they are going to it and they have that ability to solve, if they are sincerely bonding emotionally, and they are stable in their decision making, or maybe the parents observing them, their the ability to solve the issues of life. If things happen, how they go about it, then that will determine if they are stable or not. So you can be matured with age brackets we put as matured, but you still not be. I think Samantha explained it to us. They can be matured, but their behavior says they are not matured.
Yes,
So for
true.
me, the people are stable. The responsibility they are capable of taking, being stable, having clear focus, having what do you call it, healthy or real expectation in life and in marriage. Then that will tell us that they are mature to go into marriage or not. Yeah, that's what I think. Maturity, it says what? With age comes wisdom. But I wonder if it's in all cases. I don't. Some cases, yes, some no. So for me,
Yes.
it's between, at least I can say truly that I have seen two cases. The people are really matured, but they are zero, like kindergarten kids. Not seriously kindergarten kids, but motives and the way they do things, you can see that they can see that this one, this one will not go anywhere. And I have seen, as as I'm talking now, I have two people. I think they are all within the ages. I don't think they are 25 or they'll be 25. But right as I'm talking right now, these two couples have all these things that we are talking about. They are financially stable. They are all working, and the responsibility they are taking. So I observed. I'm thinking, hey, this now with this we discussed, and then the people came for a visit. I'm thinking, hey, wow, the age may not describe whether they are matured or not, but the responsibility and the way of doing things. These two, I have seen them. They are here, not with me right now, but with a friend. The people are planning to get married, and I'm observing. And I'm thinking, okay, in their case, I'm hoping that their expectation is real. Then I see them going really forward. They have achieved a lot at their age right now. And on the opposite side, it's just the opposite side, just bad, very very bad. So my thing is responsibility, maturity, problem solving ability, the skills. And I heard Vivian talking about who is responsible. I have seen, this place that I came, I have seen with my own eyes. People are trying to teach their children, but the children are just wayward, just bad. They're like, we are grown now, we are over 18, so we can decide what to do. And the law backs them like they are adults, allow them to do whatever. Meanwhile, you don't do, tomorrow you, the parent, will be blamed. Why didn't you? But the child has grown wings, doesn't want to learn. No, I am on my own. I am 18. I can do whatever I want to. What do? You leave them for life to teach them a lesson. That's what I see.
That's right.
And
that
there are
is
people,
true.
Yes. And then I have seen another. I call her my Norwegian mother. All her kids are good, homely trained because they are listening. So what do you do? It's a big question. You do your best as a parent. You do your best. Keep on talking. For example, my own. I sit them down. I said, this one you have to do. I'm not going to do it for you tomorrow. Mistakes will come, but learn, do. I'm talking. So as a parent, you keep on talking because you will use your own experience, whether good or bad. You will use it to teach them. Maybe they are seeing it already. These kids, they see. They are seeing. They are not talking. Yeah, because they are at the age that some of them they are sad that they will not talk, and there are some. You tell them, they will tell you, but you didn't do it this way. Why should I do it? So what do? Experience will teach them, or they learn from you. And that is what I say.
Well, every good or bad decision you make has a consequence. So
Yes.
they would have to take the consequences. But let me ask the question.
But
what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like the advantages of getting, if we assume that the people are matured, like we'll use Samantha's explanation. Let's take that the brain is formed and they know what they are doing. Then we know that advantages of marrying later in life. Let's take it that if the maturity that we are expecting is there, then they have the advantage is that they will be able to solve problems together, because in a marriage, two people are coming with their own issues and they have the problem solving abilities already. It will go forward. But another thing is that they have clear focus. Their expectations are real because now they have experienced some things already. So now it's not like in the fancy world where you come into marriage, everything is rosy. No, they understand that now it is real job. So they are coming knowing that I am coming to contribute. You are coming to contribute. Nobody is coming to stress anybody. Their expectations are real. So in that case, they have healthy expectations. Then maybe there is less stress. If there is healthy expectations, then there is less stress. But I also know that two people, when you marry, when it comes to, I do a little bit of tax. There's advantages. Your taxation, you are less tax. Finances. You have less taxation, and then when you buy things, like we are going to buy properties, because you are together, you have this tax. Yes, you have this tax bracket that you get. Of course, in the other, when you marry young, they also have that advantage. That's the only thing I see for them. The people who marry young, the tax advantage of being a couple. That is the only thing for now. What I see them benefiting as having children or coming together because they don't have any children. They don't have any stress. Having children also comes with its own stress. So when they are young, that one they don't have it. But with adults, it's also another thing altogether. So the advantages for me as a matured couple, you have clear focus, healthier expectations, maybe less stress, and then maybe that will make you have a greater relationship, may I say. But the taxation too, you have, your taxes are reduced, tax benefits, and and sometimes also in Norway, for example, you have this, I don't know about the US, but you have spousal benefit from Social Security. You have those ones also available for you as couples. Yes, that's my.
So
yeah.
Is that a reason why people should come together?
No.
No. People
like
have their own reason for. Yes, please continue.
It is true that it is a business, but I ain't hearing nobody loving anybody, and it has to be for more than love. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm hearing about
I mentioned about bonding. Yeah, because like as we have learned, they said people come, if you just love in a relationship, you can come and go. But from what we have learned earlier on, they said bonding. So if these people have strong emotional bonding together, taking the needs of the other people into consideration, it means they love each other. If I love you, I want you to what do you call it? It's only Norwegian word coming to me now. No, I want you to be successful. I want you to have the things you want, and you also wish the same thing for me. So together we work. No evil, like I'm coming to grab from you. I am coming to contribute. You also contribute. Maybe we have our individual agendas to follow, but we are taking into consideration each other. maybe we are together. Maybe I want to further my education, but I also want to look at your need, so that I don't stress you. The other person also has, of course, everybody has an agenda when they are going into marriage. There's a reason why you are going into a relationship, not only because maybe you want to go to school or anything, but I think it's, love is there, but there are other things that come into play. Some maybe for help, for the other person to help you, but you don't take advantage of that and then misuse the other person just because you want to be loved and because you want to progress. So you just go and take and take. It's take and give and take, isn't it? So I believe love should be the foundation, but we have to be real. I mean, taking into consideration the other person. And that is when sitting down and talking. I'm coming to this relationship because, yes, I want this and this and that. What do you want? What do you expect from this relationship? Our expectations should be clear. I hope there is nothing behind, Yeah. So
I have one more question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm done.
So love is, what if you have two persons over the age of 25 and up, but one is matured and the other isn't, be it the man or be it the woman, and say it is the woman and she ends up pulling all the weight, and it leads to frustration and lack of peace and happiness, and it brings a lot of pain, and they can't see eye to eye, and it still ends in divorce.
When you say pulling all the weight, what do you mean?
Pulling all the weight in that they're responsible for the finances, they're responsible for taking care of the children, they're responsible for running the house, they're responsible for everything, and the other person is doing nothing to assist.
That could never work. They balance.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you find,
because you are a human being, you get tired. You
Jesus
get tired when you are. Yeah.
Yes.
But then you find.
If I may interject.
Hey, what's me?
Hi. I listened to everything that has been said, and yes, there's validity in everything that has been said. But I was about to address about persons older than the 25, 28, because you've got people in their 40s and 50s that are not mature. They, if something is wrong, but to interject with where Vivian was at, most of the time the red flags are there.
That's true.
The red flags are there before you even get married. But we talk about love. They said love is blind because the blinders are on and you do not see the red flags until after you are all in.
True.
So,
can I interject something about the red flags?
Yes.
Sometimes the red flags you may not know because you grew up and where there were so many red flags. So the red flags become normal until somebody comes along that is not living in your household, that's not part of your family, that's not part of your culture, will address that these things are wrong. Of course, it's going to take time to unprogram those things that you saw and grew up with. And so that's why a person may think that is love when it's not love. Some people think, oh, I'm going to make my spouse jealous to see if my spouse loves me, whether it's a man or whether it's a woman, which is a false thing because you don't have to go to that extreme. If somebody loves you, you don't have to play these. The term is called mental mind games. I like how the Asians do it. The Asians, their friends will start looking for partners for their friends, and because they know how their friend is, they start kind of looking around. Back in them days, that's what they used to do. They used to see, like, kind of who you're going to marry to, who they are, who's the female, who's the male guy coming and marrying my daughter, and vice versa. It seemed to have worked much better, because when a guy and a female talk and they're by themselves, guys they know what to say to a female, and females will know how to act and behave. So when they come to a parent can see right through a guy. That's why in some houses, when the daughter brings the male home, the guy will pull out, he's cleaning his knife. All of a sudden, he's sharpening the knife. All of a sudden, he's cleaning the guns, to let him know you're not going to play this game, and vice versa. But the thing is that if we don't have somebody that really cares about you, then you're screwed, because you don't have that guidance. And so we have a lot of single parents that they're just too busy trying to keep the household. They're trying to bring the food. They're trying to pay all the bills. There's no really time to really sit down with your children and talk about relationship and guide them. So what do most single parents do because they don't want to deal with this? They'll say that marriage is the most terrible thing. All men are dogs and they're all cut from the same cloth. That's not very helpful either. And then they'll do the same thing, vice versa, to the female. So I've met single fathers as well. Not all males are pigs and monsters and vice versa. It's just that we do need that guidance. We do need that expertise of somebody who is emotionally, physically, mentally healthy to help you. And with that, we can't do it without ourselves. We may think at 18, I'm independent and I know everything. You don't know nothing. Even those that are older still don't know nothing. Every day we're growing and learning something new.
Yep.
Sometimes life forces you to be in a role that you weren't ready and prepared. There's important steps that we cannot jump from the time that we were born to the time they were older. It is great to hear when parents give responsibilities to their children because they're preparing them when they become older. And I'm so happy when I hear that kind of stuff. My mother, how she did it, and it was different. She was a single parent for a while. Her gifts to me were a broom and a mop. Those were my gifts. I had to do laundry. I had to clean the house. I was the one that organized. I was the one making the bottles for my sister and my brother. Other people would say that she was taking advantage of me, but when I see my other sister, the youngest one, she didn't know how to wash by hand. She didn't even know how to use the machine. She never even learned to do just the simple things. How do you do the rice, how do you cook the beans, how do you do eggs, just simple things,
Yeah.
She couldn't do that. And so what happened, my mom thought, I did something wrong. Well, let me try a different combination. And she tried different combination with all of us. And so that created confusion for her. So when we marry at a very young age and we have the culture pressuring, or family members pressuring, they're not going to be there when you're going through the hardships while being in the marriage. You're on your own. And depending on what culture it is, you're really on your own. So in the psychology right now was saying that at age 28 or age 32 was a good age to get married. Yes, it is important to know about yourself. It's important to have like a mentor, somebody that really cares about your well-being, and making sure that you don't fail. Sometimes it can be within your mom, your father. It can be an uncle, and it can be even a teacher. It can be even your godmother. It's just asking and praying God that those that don't have a mom and a dad to be there to provide someone like that.
Yeah. Are there any important...
I wanted to say a little bit about what Rosalind said, the red flags. I think people are very good at pretending. Very, very good. That one too, I've seen it. Very good at pretending so that you don't see the red flags. And as Maria said, if you have experienced some things before that you think is normal, when those red flags come, not the serious ones, maybe light ones, you may not see it as anything. It's nothing, we'll fix it, or I'll fix you, or that kind of thing. That's the mistake also. And Maria, I wish what you said, my children were here to listen. I wish they could listen, because for me, I always say, the boy, I tell him, you are not going to treat anybody's daughter like anyhow. You see me doing this, I will not, you will not do it. And you, the girls, you don't allow any man to do this and that. So we keep on talking. I'm happy you say your mother is a gift. So it means that what we are doing and teaching our children, we are actually giving them a gift. In fact, I never thought about that. So thank you for that. We are teaching our children. It's a gift we are giving them. Just we do our best, teach them, whether they refuse or not, do it, because they will remember. There was a time, like in the evenings, I'll go around. This one, have you brushed your teeth? Have you cleaned your room? And then I saw that the last one, one day I just saw her, have you brushed your teeth? Mama will say this. And then another time I heard the big two telling each other, and Mama would say this. So they were repeating what I was saying. So I said, oh, that caught my attention seriously. They were saying, this is how Mama do it, or this is what she will say. So what we are saying, if the children are listening, fine. If they're not listening, I bet you they are listening. It will sound in their ears. So as parents, we just do our best. People who are already in it already, if they happen to listen to our videos, maybe they will learn from what we are saying and try to see what they can do out of it. And if we are not into it already or trying to, then all these questions come to us. Okay, am I ready? These things that have been discussed, am I ready to use them? Because it's a very, very beautiful discussion and tools and advice. And in fact, that the counseling, Vivian, you mentioned about counseling. I think when it comes to counseling, they just talk about the sexual part things. They're not really going to, just purity and those things. I wonder if they ask you, the girl, are you working? Have you saved money? Do you know how to wash? I remember I said, no, we are not, this week, none of you is washing with the machine. Everybody, your aunties, this is how we do it. They were not liking some, but later on, when they have to go to games, I'm like, they are washing. I see them washing with I say, good, I'm happy. So I thought, yes, like maybe I say you are not going to put 1-2 dresses in the machine and wash, because you are wasting energy. And that wasting of energy, it means I'm going to pay more bills. The machine should be full. So before they wash, I'm like, this one I did well. Let me continue. So they are learning. So at the counseling place, I wonder if they ask, can you wash? Can you cook? Have you saved any money for yourself? Because I have seen also people where a woman could not buy, I'm sorry to say, a bra, but he has to wait for the guy to give. I'm thinking, are you serious? And you're going to be working with your dress, everything showing like that because he is not able to buy. You are doing something, learning something, save money for yourself, something small. You would have done this thing. You don't expect the other person to do all these things for you, And because you went into the relationship thinking that he's going to be your God in money, your God in provision, everything. And then the person is fired or something. Yes. And then you become, it's sad. It's really sad. So
Rosalind, you were saying something, and we'll wrap up with you because time is going. So let's hear what you have to say.
My question was, I have a very controversial question. I hear about the learning to cook and wash and all that. Yeah, that is good. But is that an important factor in marriage?
It is for you. At least you got to be able to do it for yourself. It's good if you can.
Those also come to values.
Yes.
Values and
we're not talking about doing it like a slave or anything like that. But I'm saying that you should be able to do these things so you wouldn't starve and you wouldn't stay dirty.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
In this day and age, I mean, yes, I agree with you guys, but I'm trying to look at it from a broad spectrum. In this day and age, do you think that will happen?
Well,
Marriage is not supposed
there
to be.
are people, huh?
Marriage is not supposed to be like you're at home, like your mom and your dad. They clean you after your. There's parents that do that. They clean your room and they cook the meal and everything. It's not supposed to be that. By then, you're supposed to being married to someone is because you want to be with that person. It's not out of necessity because you don't have a home to live in, or you got kicked out of your home, or you were staying with your aunt and your uncle, and they're like, okay, you're older now, leave. And a lot of people do that. They're getting married because they don't have nowhere to go. They're in a foreign country. They don't know what to do. And that's their solution at that time to do because they have limited resources, limited knowledge of how to proceed with life. Marriage is supposed to be because you want to have a partnership and you're not supposed to be a burden to one another. And in order for it to function, we have to have whatever skills you have. If you're good at one skill, great, you can do it, but we should learn each other's jobs, just like when we go to work. If somebody's missing, they'll have someone covered for that person's job and position. It should almost be the same in marriage because at the end of the day, what will happen if the guy or the woman is something happens? They pass away. Are you going to still be able to function in the home? Are you still going to be able to function emotionally?
Well, let me pose this question to you guys. You have a couple. They both have jobs, high-profile jobs. They are very busy. They have a home. They both are working. Some of them are working, maybe one or two, or both of them are working long hours. Is that important? Is it that important? Because what I'm trying to get across is, yes, you have all these things that are being said are true, but I'm trying to think in today's world. Because when you are in a situation, you're both in a good financial position, you can hire somebody to do these things.
I was just going to say that in a case like that, you get someone to come in and do it, but you're still doing in essence, but not yourself. You're paying to have it done.
That's not the way that I heard it or I received it tonight. But and maybe I was a bit off with that because what I'm hearing
that isn't it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
What you're hearing
I was just trying to put it in perspective in today's world. And today's, so some of those things, yes, it is important that you know how to handle yourself, but it is some of these things like the housework and the washing and the cleaning and the cooking and all that. That is, yes, you have to eat. But in a marriage, I don't think that should be the most important thing in a marriage.
No, I said it's good to be able to do them, though, because it comes, you should be able still to do these kinds of things. We are not saying that is the most important thing, but you should still be able to do them. And like you said, in the high profile, okay, you can't do it. Your husband can't do it. So you hire help. And both of you come together and pay the person. So to me, you're still doing what you're supposed to do because nothing is being left undone. If you understand what I'm saying. So that person takes your place. Right.
But you might have a situation, there are situations in marriage where one person sees the necessity to have help, and the other person, because of the way that he or she was raised cannot see that and expect okay, for example, you're saying both people should come together and make that decision, but you might have a hard-headed man, for example, would say, well, my mother didn't need a maid, or you might have one, the lady wants a washing machine. Well, my mother never had a washing machine.
Well, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
So
that ain't going to work.
You have to look at it. You have to look at it from all these perspectives because these things.
Right.
Listen,
you know where that heading. You know where that heading, right?
But you know what? What? Everything is hunky dory until you are married, and then all these things start to come out. And you're like, whoa, where did all that come from?
But not only that, sometimes even, and I'm going to wrap up shortly because it's almost an hour, but the thing about that too is sometimes things come out in jest while you're talking. And like you said, that some of the red flags are there, but
red flags.
Because you're so much in love, you're blindsided. But they did tell you what they want, though. They did tell you what they expect. But we ignore signs. So
and what happens?
That's what I was trying to get across.
Right, we ignore the signs a lot of times.
But then you also have the flip side. You also have the flip side where the problems come up and you're able to resolve them.
That's because you have you want to work together. You want things to work out.
Yes.
All is not lost as long as you're dedicated to the marriage. You can work those things out.
Yes, because it's not a perfect union. It's not a perfect union, and you're not being a perfect individual.
That's right. So
it will never be a perfect union.
Yes, it calls for understanding on both sides. But I want to thank you tonight for participating. I thoroughly enjoyed this session. I want to say this: if there are any other persons out there who are getting ready to be married and have not been able to look at all these sides and find that their partner, the love side, there's no stability. The person is not a responsible person. There is emotional problems and everything going on and trauma.
Almost finished? Yeah.
Yes. Someone turn off. I want you to know that you can still stop. You don't have to go through with it if you're not ready, based on everything we've said tonight. And you're not ready. You can still hold off, even if the wedding is already planned, so that you would not encounter pain and punishment and things of that nature and have ill health because of all of these things. So tonight, I just want to say thank you and God bless you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
And I pray that something said here tonight would be of use or would help to solve your problems. Do have a wonderful weekend, and God bless you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, I want to apologize. I thought I was on mute when I asked the question. That's almost finished. I apologize.
That's okay.
That's
okay.
a good question. It's a good question.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good weekend. I love you.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.